Hey there, my name is Fluffy the Destroyer and welcome to my channel. I just saw Dean's video here. What does gaming mean to you? Escape to Gaming channel, by the way. Vinny Corleone 62. He goes by that, so just search for him. Great videos, by the way. And I was gonna write to him, but you know, a video would be more proper in this case because I do have a kind of a special situation here. Like him, I don't play games just to play the games. Like, to be really honest here and humble, I play games just to stay sane in my life. Because it's not that simple. You see, I'm one of the persons, and no, don't take pity on me. It's not a video about just taking me as pity or just giving me money or anything. No, not at all. You see, I have a son which has this, well, you can go search on Google for that, but he has the Jacobson syndrome. It's an illness that he got from birth, and to tell you, like, generally speaking, it affects his mind, which he has a, I hate using that word, but the only thing that comes in my mind, he's a bit slow. You know, he still doesn't speak. He's 7-year-old. He doesn't speak. He's deaf on half a ear. So on this one here, completely zero. On this one here, he hears something, but he has to have a hearing aid if he wants to hear an hour level. Because if not, it's just going to be a whisper. So there's also, he was even worse when he was younger. A lot worse, but now it's better. Like, he had heart problems, he had stomach problems, he had all kinds of problems. And just to give you a general picture, like 2 times a day he would puke. That's what he would do. He would eat and then puke. That's because of his intestines wouldn't do the work correctly, and because of that, well, like, what he ate food like 4 hours ago was in his stomach because we did some tests, and, well, the doctors, not me, because I find it really disgusting, but they did some tests, and it's like it was processed 1 hour ago, which didn't make any, like, sense, but we figured something out. So we gave him medication for a couple of months, and then it worked out. Like, over time, he began to be from going to, oh my god, I'm gonna fucking die, to, I'm not gonna die, but I'm not in good shape, but I'm not gonna die. So that's the thing about him. And over time, we still have basically no help from the government or any organization because they keep getting from one side to another. You know, like, we go talk to school, they say, well, no, it's not our job. You go see that organization or whatever organization that exists, and they say, well, listen, you don't fit our prerequisites, or we can't help you because of this reason and this reason. So in other words, what they're saying to us is, we're gonna leave you with him. So, you know, it's, well, we can survive. We did survive, and we're continuing to survive with him. It's not easy. I mean, he goes to school, and to specialized school for handicapped kids, of course. It's very hard because right now he went from full-time to half-time. That's how much trouble he is at school, because he's, for now, for some reason, his behavior, because he is diagnosed with ADHD. In case no one knows, it's a kid that is hyperactive and lack concentration. Mix that together, that's what he has. It's really hard. Like, you kind of do any exercise for a 7-year-old kid, but for him, in his mind, like, physically he's 7, but for him he's like 2, 3. Communication level, it's not even 6 months. He doesn't even speak. Like, a couple of years ago, he did use some hand signs, which I taught him. It was working, but for some reason, maybe because of his behavior, it became even worse. So right now, it's like we're back to square zero, which means he doesn't talk. I have to guess to know what he wants, what he needs, what he feels. 24 hour, no, not 24. I would say when he doesn't sleep. And he also has a lack of, not lack, but he also has problems coagulating. So if he Like for us, it would be like a blue spot on our like on our arm or something because we hit something. For him, he's gonna probably break a bone, or if he bleeds, he's gonna have like problems bleeding. So we really have to be careful on that. Like just yesterday, he hit his head on like on a chair, and he had this wow, really big blue spot on his head. That's what you saw. You didn't see the eyes or the nose or his face. You saw the blue spot. That's what you saw. That's what you see right now. And but for him, he doesn't feel anything. I think there's also something special or wrong about his nervous system. I'm not really sure about that, but he doesn't feel like the way we feel physically, like pain, for example. He doesn't. I don't think he doesn't feel pain because at one point, like his arm, for example, this little spot is supposed to be like empty. It's supposed to be like a cup or like a bowl shape, because your bones are stuck together in a certain way. For him, it's like these two little parts of the bones here are this way. It's vertical. It's not supposed to be that way because you're supposed to move your arms in a certain fashion. But for him, it's dislocated. He doesn't feel anything. We actually noticed this, like, I don't know, a couple of days after. I don't know when. Honest, I really don't know when. I don't know. So for me, I use it because I play games just to stay sane. Because at the end of the day, he is hyperactive, by the way. When it's 6:30, because he asked to go to sleep, I don't know why. I would say most kids that has the Jacobson syndrome. If you go on Facebook, there's a couple of groups. And all I know is that these guys, like these kids, they never sleep, from what I can know. But my son, 6:30, he asked to go to sleep. If he doesn't go to sleep, he's gonna freak out. He's gonna do his thing when he's really mad. He goes on the ground and he plays the bacon. It's like just like any other kid that's really angry, and he doesn't have. When he has a problem communicating and he feels like no one understands him, he gets pretty angry. He hurts himself. He hits himself. He goes on the ground and he becomes like a bacon. At first it was funny, but now it's not. Like to me, when you play games, like I have a list of games here because there's way too many. Like I said, I play games just to stay sane because I honestly think I would go in a depressive state, or I would do something silly and stupid. I believe I've been playing games since I don't know, man, since I had a computer in my arms, like I had a keyboard, you know. Before that, it was Nintendo. It all started with Nintendo. Then I saw the computer and what it does and what it did, and wow, totally amazed. Graphics between the Nintendo and the computer at that time, no, it wasn't really good. But the amount of content that you could have with a computer was just really awesome. It took me to a whole new level of immersion, because when you play games, you get immersed in it, just like in a movie. But for a movie, it lasts for a very short time, an hour and a half, an hour, 30 minutes, depending on what you listen. No, I don't count TV shows because sometimes they can go on and on and on and on for hours because of the tier series and seasons and all and all. But I'm just talking about like movies and games. But for games, it's really special because you can play a game for what, from 8, 10, 5 hours perhaps, and even 30 hours, 100 hours. I just remember, it's not on the list, but I just remember a game, Final Fantasy VII. I have played this game, wow, way over like 100 hours, way over that. I think it's 500, perhaps even more, 1,000. I'm not kidding here. I have completed this game 7 times, and without looking on Google, because I could do that and try to read and everything, and just to note everything down about the story, I still have problem understanding that story. I don't know why, it just doesn't stick to me, because you see a scene Like you play the game, you see the scene, then you play like another time, and you see another scene, and then it contradicts itself. It's just way too complicated. I love it because of that. Some games are just like way too complicated. Man, there's Wolfenstein. I just bought the one here, and regarding Dean, because I know that I know for a fact that when he did comment on some of my videos, I think he feels I'm jaded a bit. No problem there. I think I am in some way. But this one, Wolfenstein The New Order, oh, wow. I always had that question. What if Germany won? Everyone that's really interested in history, there's always that question in mind when you look at World War II documentaries. What if Germany won? Let's be honest here, and for those who don't know, when Japanese attacked the U.S. on like Pearl Harbor, at that time, they almost had nothing else to defend with. One other attack or a couple of other waves, which the Japanese fleet could have done, and the Pacific coast would have been completely invaded by Japanese. That would have been like the end of U.S. I believe. I'm not like an expert, but that's what I believe in, and that's what I think I heard that in a documentary somewhere. I don't know where exactly, but like when that's what I heard. So, of course, it's to be taken for a grain of salt, but still, you play a game which Germany won, so they have complete control of everyone on Earth. It's really interesting. You also get a game which is done like basically almost today, and you're at a point where you play a first-person shooter game which has some, like, you play a game and at some point you got to branch out, so you got to take a decision. To me, that's really interesting. You get, oh man, those DOS games from the old times. Command & Conquer, Red Alert, Rise of the Triad, Doom, there's a buttload of others as well. Hocus Pocus, Duke Nukem 1 and 2, there's a load of them, man. It's Tyrion 2000 as well. It's a top scroll-down scroller with kind of Thunder Force 2 or something, or any other top scroller with a plane on top, and you just shoot everyone. Really awesome. It still plays today, and if you go on GOG, it's even free, by the way. I believe it's like free today, so you don't even pay a cent. It's a really great game. You got tons of hours in that. Like the experience you can get from this, like for example, indie games. I'm only going to talk about PC games, of course, like FTL, Game Dev Tycoon. Yeah, Game Dev Tycoon doesn't have really great graphics. I mean, it looks like Flash. It's more of a number game, like a number like a statistic game, which means you get how much money can you make with a game when you develop a game here with this one, Game Dev Tycoon. Like you can make, I don't know, $1 million. What if the next game you can do a bit more, and what if you can make more and more and more? You just try to break your own record. It's really awesome. FTL, there's Terraria, Risk of Rain. Like Risk of Rain and FTL features an amazing soundtrack. I actually went on in the Risk of Rain's website and listened to the soundtrack like for a couple of hours. I've never done that with a game because usually they only use some kind of like the Hollywood style music, which I really hate. These ones, wow. They're really great. You get immersed in them, and like it's really amazing. I got other games here as well. It's let's see, Skyrim. You play the game, like the main story, but it features like an open world, and you get lost in it. and the modding community on the PC is so amazing that you can do everything with the game. So you can do whatever you want. You can increase the graphics, put out new weapons, or change the weapons, change the story, and you can do all kinds of stuff. And the modding community just doesn't run out of ideas. They're really creative, trust me. There's, oh man, Grand Theft Auto 3, there's San Andreas. Vice City is my favorite, I have to say, because of the 80s, and because mostly about the music, and the thing that when you buy land, and properties. Well, I mean properties. And at one point, which is really weird, like this scene is, I know it's an adult pornographic scene, but this one sticks to me all the way. You go inside in Grand Theft Auto Vice City. You get inside the like the adult studio, and there's a scene going on. And the guy, which I can't remember the name, but asks you to do something, but you have to ask the adult star, like the woman, to accompany you. So you ask her, which she's like in a scene right now, like in live action, and she tells you yes in her kind of like, she tells you yes in her kind of way, and you get like, you don't know if she means yes or she means yes because she's having a good time. I don't know. I just find that really funny in a really weird way. And to me, that's like, I played that game like years ago. I don't even know when I played it, and that's what it sticks to me. Grand Theft Auto 3, when you get from Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2, which is a top-down type of game, and then you get the third one, which is a full 3D open-world game. It goes from, I'm sorry, crappy to wow. Really big difference. You get into a car, you steal cars, you... Okay, I know it's just a game, it's not real life, but you kill people, you get prostitutes in your car, you have sex with them, you can do all kinds of crap. To me, I find that fun. It's really fun. It's really entertaining. And to me, because of that experience, because of the time, because of the story, the quality of the story, the music, I get from a really crappy experience day to something that I really like, and I like to lose my mind into a game in a good way, losing my mind. I mean, with my son's problem and all the problems that I have today, sometimes I really have to do something else because I'm going to go insane or go into a depressive state. And because of that, I have to do something else. And those games, for example, Company of Heroes, Red Alert, and what else? XCOM, yeah, the new XCOM, but less of that. There's also other multiplayer games which has taken a lot of my time, like those games I remember, like Red Alert, for example, Command & Conquer, even like, especially the old DOS games, but today would be Medal of Honor Allied Assault. It's not on my list, but I just thought about it. And I played so many hours on those games, like especially Medal of Honor Allied Assault. And for those who, I would say, who remember, when you play the single player missions, there are some maps. I think it's the third one, I believe, or the second one, which is a winter kind of map, and you get into some kind of a base where there's like a port. I don't know, and I barely remember the game. And one of the modding community, what he did, I think it was the LMAO clan, and what they did was they took, by the way, there's almost no tools for modding Medal of Honor. It's all about scripting, and there's I think it's called the RAD tool, which you can edit the levels. You can make multiplayer levels, but both persons, or both the server and the person that connects to your server must have the modified map. And because of, there's also some scripting, but you had to figure out what to do, and you had to go on websites to know what you had to do. And what he did was he took those single player maps, and from one end to another, what you would get is there would be like a blue and a red bar, and he would split the map in two. And because of that, what he would do is, like, both of you, like, there's both parties, there's both teams, you attack each other. And depending on where I would say, like, the character that's closest to the enemy's point, the blue bar or the red bar would increase or decrease. It's like a push map. So you just push it, and it would be really fun, because in those maps, sometimes you'd get those, like, there would be a wall, and sometimes after a couple of updates or something, or a couple of weeks after, you'd get a wall, for example, and the DM, for example, or the administrator or something, would put like a box just beside the wall so you can go over it, and then you can try to get over, or just try to flank the enemy. it would add a lot of things to it. Like the experience in that was just really amazing. I remember one of my buddies. I don't know for what reason. I know he didn't cheat, and I saw him do that. He would basically look at me like that, and he would take his mouse and he would shoot in a place. There's a map. I think it's one of the map where there's a train and there's some kind of bridge, but the train goes under the bridge, but you don't see whatever's on top of the bridge. And there's I think it's in Africa or something. I can't remember. I think it's on the fourth mission or something. And there would be fog, a lot of fog in the game, in that specific part of the map. And he would look at me, not even look at his screen. He would take like his mouse, because he was controlling it with the mouse, and he would shoot. He would kill people. Like 10 bullets, 10 death. I swear to God. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. Call it coincidence? I'm not even sure, but people told him that he was cheating. And because of that, for some reason, I don't know why, but this is what stuck to me with this specific map at this specific time. And I don't know how the admins did it, but you would actually see my buddy just going around the map, having a hot dog stand and giving hot dogs to people. I don't know how they did it, but they did. It was pretty funny as hell as well. There would be those games like Red Alert, for example. I would play hours and hours, either with a friend against a computer, or 2, 3, 4, even 8. Well, no, I would say like 6, 5, or 7 NPCs, depending on what friend who would like that was playing with me. And man, sometimes we would just rank up the level of difficulty to the maximum and just try to rush them or something. And sometimes it worked. A lot of time it didn't work. We would get raped, just like in Company of Heroes. On, I think the level of difficulty was expert or something. It was like the last one. You had a certain way to do it, and if you don't know how to do it, you will get raped. It's really fun. Like the amount of hours and the immersiveness of those games. There's also Neverwinter Nights. Not a really pretty game. It's like an isometric kind of view, kind of like the view of Diablo 2, but BioWare at that time knew how to do a good story. This one is a kind of story that's really good, but what really differentiates this game to all the other RPGs out there is the sound, the music. That's what's great about it. Like, for example, in Neverwinter Nights, it happens in a city at night, which for some reason gets all closed. And because it gets closed, the city academy calls for everyone who can help them. You're the character who will help them. So you get on in the city, and then you get this immersiveness. The people that are screaming, some are just raging in the background. A lot of them will be guards trying to scream orders sometimes. Like, the immersiveness is just so amazing because of the sound, the environmental sound around it. And especially if you have some really good speakers like 5.1 or some really good 2.1 speakers with the subwoofers and everything. It's just amazing. Wow, Doom 3, for example, as well. This is another one. Some might call it like a big fraud of a game. I would say, or they didn't really like it. I liked it. The only problem is that it shouldn't have been called Doom 3 because it's very different. You're going from Doom 1 and 2 to a really big action-packed, lots of demons kind of game to a survival horror game, Doom 3. It's very different from the second one and the third one which they released, which is very different. I think that's why what happened. You're not playing to kill the enemies or kill the demons. You're playing to survive, going from level to level, and to get out of there. That's what's really different about it. I loved it. Actually, one of my buddies never finished the game because he was too afraid of the game. And I used to do it on purpose. I'd close down all the lights, I'd rank up the sound, and I would try to play the game completely. I did. amazing experience. It's something of, and I do recommend everyone to play that game. This is a really, it's a spooky game sometimes, and you have to play it the original intended way, which means you get the gun, no flashlight, which doesn't make sense because you're in the future on another planet. Even today, we're not in the, like, 2050s or so. Hell, we're not in 2020, and a lot of guns today have, like, integrated flashlights and all those really nice gadgets with night visions and all that really nice things to it. But in this one, you barely have a flashlight, though. Flashlight in your hand, or you change it, you got a gun. What? That what makes it fun. Because you got a flashlight, you can't attack, you can't do anything. Then you see a zombie or an enemy which can come out of the floor, the ceiling, everywhere, behind you or something, and you hear the sound behind you. Because if you have surround sounds, you get paranoid. You absolutely get paranoid in the game. Like, sometimes you'll hear sounds behind you, you look behind you, there's nothing. Nothing happens. It's scripted. You go over a certain place in the game, and then you'd see, well, you don't see it, but you hear something. And sometimes you're going to see something, but it's just going to be some lights. There's going to be some flickering lights. There's the sound as well. And, oh man, this is just like a great game to get lost in it. I really like that. There's also Ultima 6, which I've played on PC, but I have to admit on the Super Nintendo, this is the one that I really like the most. Because of the dialogue. You can actually choose the dialogue and the words, but on the PC version, when you play Ultima 6, which is really bad, ugly game, it's not bad, it's really a good, ugly game. It looks ugly as hell, but for the nostalgic, like the most nostalgic people of us, they will like this one. It's basically a game where it's set in the fantasy world of Britannia, and, well, I barely remember the game, to be honest, but if you look on Google, just type it and you're gonna find out what is it exactly, but I'm just surprised to see a very old game like that, which is really open world, and it is butt ugly, but you start from your starter point, which is inside the castle where you see the king and everything. You save a life, and you can actually get almost to the end of the map. Because when you buy the game, you get a map. Really big map, by the way. And you can get lost in it. You can actually not follow the plot, like Skyrim, go around, do everything beside playing the game, which was intended. This is how great it was, and it wasn't even in 1990. 1995, I think, or, well, anyways, it's a really old game. 256 colors type of DOS game. That old. But it was great. I still remember some of my time with it. I've spent a lot of hours in it, but unfortunately, probably because of my age, I don't know, I can't remember a thing. And the thing is also, when you play those games, especially those multiplayer, it's the experience that you get in it when you play with friends. Most of the time when you play a game with, like a single player game, for example, it's a really good experience, you get a good time, but the best times I had was with my friends on the internet. I just go to a multiplayer game like Doom, Command & Conquer, or whatever, and I have just some fun. I remember that when I was, 16, 18, 20 or something, and I would do my day, and after the day was done, or at that time when school was done, I would go to my friends and play, well, especially on weekends, I would play all night long. It was just, it was that fun. The amount of games that I played overnight with my friends was just really amazing. I even made some friends over the internet, which I have to admit, I like them better than my real friends in real life. That's how it works for me. It's not for everyone. Like the social experience when you get while playing those games. For example, PlanetSide 2. You can get into a platoon of 48 people. And on TeamSpeak, you can get that amount of people, but usually today on TeamSpeak on PlanetSide 2, 10, 12, 20, that was the most, I think 20 or 24 people inside one channel. That is an amazing fun. That is an amazing experience, which I want to experience again, and I will experience it again. That's the kind of experience that I had, I do have right now, and I still play. So for me, I play just to stay sane, not to go, I don't know, to a depressive state or something, because I know that people at my, if they would go through what I went through, like a lot of bad things would happen. But I don't. I just stay positive. I play games. I even review games today. I upload gameplay footage. That's my fun. It completely lose. I try to completely lose my mind inside a game, so I get the most out of my time. That's how I do it. I'm not gonna go outside to play. I don't know, do like extreme sports, for example. I will go out with my wife, with my kids, or whatever, and I will play with them, of course. But like the computer games, this is what saves my life, honestly. And well, for my wife, it's a bit different. For her, it's movies with the internet today, but we're not going to talk about that. But for me, it's games. I mostly buy my games on Steam, Humble Bundle, GOG, Green Man Gaming, for example. These sites features super cheap prices. Most of the games that I buy on Steam are 50%, 80% off. Like, for example, I just bought New Order, like the Wolfenstein New Order for $30. Same thing for Watch Dogs. Most other games like Kerbal Space Program. Really awesome game if the ship will stop spinning. Man. And now they have career mode, and I think they're going to go in beta soon, so this is really great news for early access games, because not a lot of good news for early access games in the recent months. Like, for example, Space-Based DF9. I was waiting for that one to be great, but unfortunately, no, it didn't go well. It's not going to continue. That's bad, because that game, the idea of the game was really good. Yeah. Anyway, that was my reply for Dean for what does gaming mean to you. So for me, it's a lifesaver. Take it as a buoy. That's the word. That's the perfect word, or the phrase. Gaming for me is a buoy in life because I need it for my situation. What about you?